So this is Calicats to Calicatster, and this is a review of Captain America: Brave New World. I saw some other reviews of this before. It's Manchurian Candidate meets Marvel, kind of, sort of, meets Mission Impossible, which was one of the previous for the Mission Impossible final rank. Yeah. I don't want to go into those though. I want to go into this movie because this movie is both at times like trying to be. It's cool and also trying to be politically edgy, and neither of those things really work in this movie. It's a Marvel movie that they make fun of the Ant-Man movie, and I'd say on a par with what's going on in this. It's no better a script than Quantumania. Just so you know, it's no better than Quantumania right off the bat. So if you didn't like Quantumania, and I kind of like parts of it, but they made the bad guy at the end stupid. That was Quantumania though. This story is the main reason why you don't do political thriller on Star Trek. There was a comment by the YouTuber Jesse Genders that they should make a political thriller Star Trek. No, they shouldn't. And this movie is why they shouldn't. It becomes too topical. No, there is not a president who turned into a Red Hulk in real life. That's not what I mean. It's that it's that doing a Manchurian Candidate political thriller thing is not interesting in a Star Trek setting. Does it work in a Marvel universe to an extent, but not in a Star Trek story? It wouldn't work in a Star Trek story just because you have maybe 45 minutes per episode, maybe an hour, and if you're going to tell a two-part one to make it a movie, then the characters behaving like they're not supposed to, not who they say they are and stuff. That's like, it's good for one episode. The whole reason the mirror universe exists, that kind of thing. I'm going to go with the critics that said 50%. Yeah, I'm going to go with the critics that said 50%. There's so much homework that has to be done in this movie that it's like, yeah. Now, Jack Kirby was awesome back in the day, but the Marvel updates of that, and Stan Lee, his co-creator, who created the Celestials. But that Eternals movie is not something you want to pay homage to. That movie sucked. It wasn't a good Marvel movie. I would rather watch the Dark World, Thor, and Iron Man 2 with that Whiplash guy than that silly Dark World, like that darkness is stealing the. Then I wouldn't want to watch the Eternals ever again. That movie was dreadful. They thought, ooh, let's get it, and that's the Eternals. But this movie, is like, and not because of the director being a woman, that wasn't it. The director just wasn't very good at doing a Marvel movie. Yeah, she didn't know how to do a Marvel movie. That was a problem. She'd done other movies, just not that kind of movie. She's more experienced doing other superhero movies. And granted, when they film these, they film them using that big Panavision pan screen thing, and most of the action stuff is done a giant studio with a giant wall, and there's some props here and there, and then they use a frick ton of animators to animate it, make it look like it's a different world. But yeah, that's how they do it. And yeah, when you're actually on a set in a Marvel movie, you're looking at green screen most of the time, going like, oh, there's a monster over there, react to it. And, oh, there's a car being tossed, react to it. Okay, but yeah, you see the behind the scenes stuff. It's all like that. No wonder they can't. That some of them can't direct it. They don't know what they're looking at. But yeah, this movie, they claim after the movie came out that there were no extensive rewrites. That there's just some rewrites that they always do at the end of every movie. Even the Anthony Mackie said this, but Anthony Mackie is listed in the credits as one of the executive producers. So I'm going to take what he said with a grain of salt and say, well, he didn't, as one of the producers who's paying the money, he's not going to say, oh, this movie was so bad we had to reshoot most of it. Well, they had to reshoot about 20% of it. My scene is completely gone. I'm just kidding, I wasn't in it. But if I was, I would have been in the, They put the Cal-Cat scene at the end, and they should have just put it in the movie. The end credits are boring to the end part, and it's like, that should have been in the movie. They should have, yeah. And then when you look up the making of it, you have to do homework to know what the hell is going on, which is a problem, a big problem with this movie. You have to do homework. You have to have known. Now, granted, if you're a Marvel fan and DC Plus fan, you know Anthony Mackie's Captain America since they gave him the shield in the end of the other one. And then there was a TV show called Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Unfortunately, if you hadn't seen, I had, but if you hadn't seen that show, you would be like, who was this? When did this happen? You would be completely lost. We had a packed audience on a 2 day. It came out on Friday, and for Valentine's Day, and so we had this packed audience today, and they were baffled. There was nobody cheering and going, "Yay, that scene is cool" or anything. They were baffled, stunned silence from right next to me. One guy was getting on his phone and like texting to his friend because he was so bored that he was like, I'm going to text to my friend, oh God, this movie sucks. It doesn't suck. It just has major, major problems. It isn't the Eternals. It's not that bad, but it's Iron Man 2. Oh, that's pretty bad. But yes, partly Iron Man 2. The plot's very similar. The bad guy acts in a very similar way. The dispatching of the bad guy, very similar way to Iron Man 2. So they just took the template of that movie and put it on a Winter Soldier movie. What's weird is the Thunderbolts, which is a spin-off movie. It was supposed to come out before this, thus explaining why he has the name Thunderbolt. But they switched them, and Thunderbolts is coming out in a couple of months. So what they could have done is they could have released Thunderbolts first. They could have done that. They could have flipped them back where they're supposed to be, and then the Bucky scene would have made sense. Wasn't in the original. They added that scene. So the Cal-Cat scene. They cut it out. So, dang it. Oh well. It was stupid anyway. He walks in and goes like I think they left some of the voiceover because somebody said during the surgery scene. There was this guy getting surgery done, and somebody said they always say in medical movies and shows, so suture, scalpel, and suction nurse, whatever, suction involved. I was like, oh my god, is that? Oh, that's where he is. Okay, the voiceover guy, suction, sir. Yes, suction. I have to say suction. Scalpel nurse. Suction. What are they doing to him? They're not cutting him. But yes, back to this movie that's that disjointed all over the place thing. There's Harrison Ford taking over. I think Willem Dafoe died, or something like that. One of the guys died. I forget who the guy that died. I don't know if it was Dafoe. Some other dude died. I'm gonna look that. Oh, William Hurt. Yeah, not Dafoe. William Hurt. Okay, so yeah, another old guy, takes over for him and is doing his best Joe Biden, which I'm sure the Trump charts would like. You're the best Joe Biden, the Joe Biden president. But apparently he's been secretly fed gamma stuff by the evil Brainiac guy. He's not Brainiac, he's something else. He's in the comics. He's from the Incredible Hulk movie, the second one, I think? Yeah, the second. He's the villain. It's the same actor. which I suspect I secretly was channeling from the villains from the Incredible Hulk. So he wasn't. I was just when I did the voices on my show, I was channeling that guy. I didn't mean to be, but I kind of was. Yeah, the guy, the Brainiac, the leader, as Char. Very similar character to Char. Except mine's actually earlier, but there's the voice acting, Canary Space. It had nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with this movie. It's just that I was probably thinking of that guy. Anyway, so we have, and also Strasberg of the Metal Shot, but mainly Char, and the Red Skull, and a little bit of that. The leader and the Red Skull, Char and Servants. And so great to tell you that. Nobody did that. So this story is about this, they break the guy out of, you gotta do so much homework on this. If you're totally, haven't seen all 25 Marvel movies, you would have no clue as to who half of them are. They go up, they meet this guy who was a super soldier in that other episode, I believe Falcon, the other Winter Soldier, and the other movie, the Winter Soldier movie with Captain America, Steve Rogers. And now I know that in the comic books there is a Captain America who becomes the other guy. I wasn't concerned about that. That was fine. Yeah, but he doesn't have the serum and that kind of thing. But you have to know all that stuff. And most audiences are just going to go like, well, okay, who's this other guy now that's all powerful too? And why isn't he the captain? This big, powerful guy. They go to a party for signing a treaty. You know it's going to go wrong because you got the music playing in the background. And you have this, called Betzeroff. It sounded like her name was Betzeroff. Like all bets are off. And I kept laughing. And the only time we heard chuckling from the audience is whenever Betzeroff was mentioned. Because it sounds like she said all bets are off. Because, yeah, making up Marvel making up Russian names is hilarious when they sound like American names. So we have this Betzeroff. Yeah, she's the red herring. You think she's going to be the bad guy because she's one of the Red Room, one of the Black Widow ladies. They showed a preview for Thunderbolts too. But it showed a bunch of other boring previews. I don't know if Thunderbolts is going to work either necessarily. We'll see. Because if they're named after this guy, I know it's in the comics. It's different in the comics. I know that. I know about that. Don't need to put it in the credits. Okay, yeah, Thunderbolts. Thunderbolt Ross is this other guy. He's the Red Hulk. Yeah, we get that. That's going to happen. The Red Hulk is going to be formed. We get that from the preview even. Yeah, it gives away too much in the preview. Yeah, it has problems, and so this other guy he goes ballistic after hearing an '80s pop song, and his cell phone flickering is taking over his mind and some other agents' minds. Apparently, the bad guy has a mind control device, and he's able to actually tap into the human brain and make brain impulses do things like go off and like a trigger word thing. There's some of that, like CIA and FBI and Deep State and stuff like that, but it doesn't work like that. In the movies, it's like the trigger word sets off the guy with a command or a song or something. That wouldn't really work in real life, but sure, in the movies it's fun. Sure, trigger word, why not? I can suspend disbelief a little bit that mind reading and mind control is impossible. Otherwise, people would use it to cheat at everything. They would use the mind control device. They would go into a bank and say, I want the bank numbers of every bank number in here. And they would instantly have everyone's bank account numbers. They would go into the stock exchange and go, and they'd take all the money and put it in a Swiss bank account and keep it. They would go win in Vegas. That machine over there is going to win. Mind control. You must give me the money. Yeah, it wouldn't work because then they would be like an immortal character. It doesn't make sense in real life at all. You can't read brain impulses literally. An alien race that was rejected from Canary Space, whatever, the alien race was using something like mind control, because they figured out how to tap into the human brainwaves. Because all human brain synapses fire off the same energy, so they figured out how to. They'll fire off a little bit, but it doesn't go through the skull. But they figured out how to do it. And this one's kind of the same idea. Oh, the cell phones, me, taking over. That was a cute influencer idea in there. So we have various espionage type characters, Manchurian Candidate type guy. Of course, the big super serum guy tries to assassinate a bunch of people, and they throw him in jail, and they're gonna, without parole, is gonna be executed, but doesn't get executed because that's why. Well, they didn't just cast the U.S. agent as that guy. I guess it makes more sense to make it the other guy because he's his friend. But yeah, they didn't do that. Originally, Bucky Barnes was not in it. They put him in the movie for like a good 5.5 minutes, like doing a speech about why he didn't take the serum or whatever. And everybody's getting that wrong on the internet. In the discussion, they made it sound like, oh, this is why I didn't do it, and I'm better than that. I don't need to take this and whatever. And that isn't the way the scene goes. In the scene, he wants to take the super serum. In the scene, and Bucky tells him not to. It's the other way around. But all the fans are like, no, it's the other. In the movie, it's the other way around. He wants to do it. Bucky won't let him. It's interesting. And then it's referred to it again. So yeah, they changed. I don't know if it was changed in the later version, but that scene is, he doesn't end up doing it. But he kind of should, because his character does death-defying, ridiculous stunts that you'd have to be a super agent alien to even do. And yeah, and didn't at the end of the Winter Soldier series, didn't he take it at that point? I thought he did. I think they just retconned it and said he didn't. I think he did. Yeah, so that whole plot element they forgot. Because him and U.S. Agent fight each other in that movie, in that show. So I did see the show. Yeah. So in the next one, they get like the other ones, the Black Widows together, and Red Guardian and all that for the next show. But so we have this Manchurian Candidate thing going on. The guy falsely accused of trying to kill everybody, thrown in jail, and they got to find out who the bad guy is. And they find out the bad guy's lair awfully, like halfway through the movie, as if this is actually the end of the movie originally, but then they were like, oh, I'm thinking there were a lot of reshoots. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking they had half of a good idea. The movie almost plays like it was season 2 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and they said, we're not going to make that now because the other one, Secret Wars, didn't work. I didn't even watch Secret Wars. I heard it was not very good. They referenced Secret Wars in the Marvels, and everyone was confused because they hadn't seen Secret Wars, because nobody watched Secret Wars. It was kind of the espionage kind of thing too, I guess. Like similar from the reviews. I saw reviews of it, and it doesn't seem like it would be all that exciting. You think something called Secret War would be exciting, because it's got the word war in the title. But let's not rant on Secret Wars if I haven't seen it. So we have, this. It plays like it's a couple episodes of the show. Like they said, oh, we have kind of like Section 31 in a lot of ways. The other one over there, Paramount, where you have 2 episodes or a whole series crammed into a 2-hour period, because that's what it seems like. This movie was originally Falcon and the Winter Soldier Season 2. And they just said, we're going to make a 2-hour movie instead of a show. We're going to make a 2-hour movie out of it. Wrap it up. So like they're going to do with a Mandalorian movie, but now nobody cares. This setup and payoff, and they find the lab, and it's the bad guy, and he's in there. For super agents that have been trained to go and go to places and stuff and restart the Avengers. Remember, if they want to restart the Avengers, because the Avengers doesn't really exist much anymore, it would be Captain Marvel girl, the girl one. It would be the Photon's gone; she's in another dimension, and it would be but not gone, because it's actually, God, that doesn't make any sense. And then you have Agatha, but who cares about Agatha? Agatha all along, that was all these other. If you got to do homework, So you've got, confused as to who these people are, really, because they're kind of similar to each other. Similar villains, similar heroes, that type of thing. What you do there, if you're writing a story, is you just say, all right, we don't need the red herring girl villain, who's clearly not going to be the red herring. She's not going to be the villain, she's the red herring. Throw her in there, she's in on it. Oh, it's like, okay, yeah, we know that all bets are off. It's not going to be the bad guy. And Brainiac guy is back, and it's the same voice and the same actor. So yeah, and they couldn't recast. They had to recast Harrison Ford as the guy because the other guys died, and so you have they're kind of setting up this red. They dragged that on for the longest time, and then he's on the station thing, and they're on there's a celestial hand, a hand and part of a face sticking out of the ocean in the Indian Ocean because the Celestial was killed by the Celestials, the Eternals. We don't know where the rest of the Eternals went. They must be around somewhere. Yeah, is anybody asking them what's going on? There it is. And then they introduced the adamantium. That caused some amusement in the audience. It was kind of funny. We're going to introduce adamantium. It's stronger than vibranium. But they did imply that there was also adamantium in mines on the Earth, so that's where Wolverine comes from in the X-Men and all that. Because they did establish that there was some around on the Earth, not just in the adamantium celestial alien, that they managed to stop. It's supposed to be indestructible. They stopped him. And he's frozen. He's dead. And so they want to capture the device, and the bad guy has manipulated the Japanese to get mad at them and try to take the thing for themselves. And the president goes over there on Air Force One and is riding a bike and stuff, and doing Joe Biden things, and goes over and he's, it's clearly what that guy's trying to do. Let's do a political thriller about Sleepy Joe. All right, but yeah, it doesn't work in a Marvel movie. I get that Thunderbolt Ross is supposed to be somebody else. It's a general guy from before. I get that. I get it. But the regular audience is completely like, what? The old guy turned into the Hulk at the end? What? Huh? If there's a regular audience, they don't have any clues what's going on. So yeah, that's you're gonna lose like half of your audience just because they're not Marvel fans. It'll be like, oh, but yeah, so you have, and he would be an old Hulk. He wouldn't be he'd be much depowered from the other Hulk. Yeah, he'd sort of like be a half Hulk. Yeah, so he wouldn't be as strong. So yeah, it would be like, yeah, Ant-Man could probably beat him as Kang. But yeah, let's say Anthony Mackie's totally good at kicking his butt. No, he's not as powerful as the Hulk. He's a Red Hulk. He's almost, but no, not quite. He beat himself up trying to get away. So there's this thing on the island, and they have like the fight on the island, and one of the Japanese characters in the story, apparently he calls the Yamato the battleship that's there, and everybody's like, oh god, they did get that joke. And it's like, really, I don't think they're gonna rename a carrier ship in Japan the Yamato. That's a nice nod to the World War II one and the animated show. I think it's more the animated show, which is funny, but did they name the other one the Akira then, and the other one the Macross? Because you might as well go there. If you're gonna do the anime thing, and one of them's got to be the Gundam as well. The Gundam, and of course the spy ship has to be the Sailor Moon. And of course, the marketable alien bad guy should be the Pokemon. The Pokemon. That Pokemon. Yes. You might as well just just throw everything at the wall and see if it sticks. Yamato. Nice. They didn't give the U.S. carrier a cool name. They called the other one the Yamato. Okay. The Godzilla. I think Godzilla. The Kaiju. The Kaiju, the Godzilla. There we go. That's all right, I guess. Yeah. So what? Yeah, they could do a lot of CG stuff. You could tell that they changed a lot of the fight scenes. Yeah, Anthony Mackie the producer guy, going on saying that there weren't scenes cut from it and reshot. He's lying, because there were. Come on. The half of this movie doesn't work. Literally half of it doesn't work. You're not buying from the get-go that he's Captain America, for one thing. In the comic books, they make it work, because he's like the same power and stuff. But in this version, no, you don't buy it for a minute. It doesn't work. Yeah, that's kind of a problem that doesn't work. That your main character is depowered, so to speak. But so was Hulk, so Red Hulk. Yeah, I don't need to go into all the movie, or do a long diatribe on it. It's just that it was rather okay. It's passable. It kept squirming in my seat. Well, also because the guy next to me was texting his friend to the movie, so giving him details. It's like, dude, stop with the cell phone. Turn it off. He kept doing it. It's like, dang. It's like, no. The spy music's gonna come through that cell phone and turn you into a super agent, and then he stopped looking at it. That was distracting. Ew. But yeah, so dang. I was about to do this. What am I doing? Yeah. Now this was Brave New World. Boring title. The original title was gonna be, what was it? We'll just steal titles from 70s sci-fi movies and action movies. Brave New World. Oh, what was the original title? It was like what was it? It was something else. They changed it. I'm not gonna do that with this one either. Although his buddy gets nailed really good. He's all messed up. He's in the hospital that's when the hospital scene happens. His buddy, the other Falcon, second Falcon. I guess there was another Falcon. They're kind of following the comics from the 2000s on a little bit, but they kind of got some stuff wrong. It's okay. I mean, it's just okay. Like that new Chinese place opened in the mall. It's okay. It's passable. It was trying so hard to be cool and edgy, sort of like Section 31 was, and that it kind of wasn't. I'll say that's the main problem, and that he's totally not convincing as Captain America. He just isn't. It just isn't. If you powered him up like at the end of the show and said, okay, he is powered up, then it's a little more passable, but it's still goofy. And why would Thunderbolt Ross do what he's doing, and why would they put the bad guys on that weird circular prison out in the middle of nowhere, knowing they could escape from there because they know where it is? And why would they do that? And they put him in there too. Apparently the original ending was going to be, the Hulk guy dies from getting an adamantium spear. Thankfully they didn't do that, because that would have been stupid. I was like, no, that's the ending of fucking Batman v Superman with the Kryptonian spear. They're all, oh, crap. Yeah, we can't do that. That'd be stupid. Because it was stupid in that one, too. But yeah, don't do that. So they didn't do that. But yeah, the ending where he meets up with the bad guy and tells him, and he says, the others are coming. Ooh. That should have been not the end credit sequence. That should have been the last scene of the movie. That didn't need to be the end credit sequence. It's not through all the credits for that. That should have been in the movie. The bad guy is caught. He's in jail. He says something cryptic. End movie. Right there. Yeah, you don't need that as obviously they didn't have an end credit sequence. So they just made something up. Although the trailer for Fantastic Four First Steps, it looks like a lot of fun. That one is actually OG, a lot of fun. Yeah, and it was not two and a half, 3 years ago that I said they're going to make a Fantastic Four movie, and I gave them the idea. I said, make it set in the '60s world. It's in the past. They're already powered up. Guess what they're doing? Okay, where's my money? An idea is not money. No. That's what they're doing. A '60s style Jetsons planet where it's like the '60s. They continued on to be, like that world is a fantasy world of like, okay, the space program really took off and everybody was, it's not really the '60s. It's a planet that's sort of like that. It's not. It wouldn't be Earth then. It'd be like a special planet. Looks more brightly colored than the preview trailers, where it made it look kind of sepia toned and dark. Yeah, a lot of the movies are like that. Oh, it's got to be overcast. Well, that partly is the screen thing, though. That's partly the screen thing. When they do the big Panavision screen, it's usually a big green screen, so it's really tough to do blue on the background. So they make everything look gray. That's why. Yeah. Yeah, you go in there and you're like, what am I looking at? Yeah, you can tell this movie had a lot of that. The part where he morphs looked fake, and then he morphs and he starts knocking the Hulk guy, the Red Hulk morphs. Some of that looked really fake, and he hits the building. It's like, oh, that's the Panavision screen. He's gonna pretend to throw stuff at it. It didn't look like it was there. It looked like it was just suspended in a virtual thing. Yeah, they should fix that. I don't think ILM helped out on this one, like they usually do on the other ones. No, there's just a little bit of ILM in this one. They sent some of the effects to other studios that helped them. I guess because this movie was in production and was delayed during the writer's strike 2 years ago. And that is something else. They pretend, oh, that didn't really affect it. Yes, it did. It affected every Hollywood movie. That's why this year at the Oscars, a bunch of Netflix movies got awards. Which is fine. But yeah, there's just a lot of issues with how it was structured. At least they did fix something on my suggestion. I did suggest it on my site, and they must have watched it. They know they watched the Fantastic Four thing that I had an idea of. I know they watched that because they're doing that. But they're doing that. It's the most anti what they've been doing with the other Fantastic Four movies. That it works. It's optimistic and fun looking. It looks fun. You got to make it fun. This movie was trying so hard to be edgy and dark at times that the jarring introduction of humor didn't really work. I don't think. There are a couple of good one-liners in there, but if you're going to have like a Manchurian Candidate type of thing, the guy's programmed to do something that's kind of cool. But yeah, and of course the collateral damage is hilarious. Like clearly he's killed a bunch of the heroes are killing more people than the bad guy in the story. Yeah, so I like how the bad guy goes, I'm the hero. Yes, another Calicat discussion with Mark Scars back in the day. Who is the hero and who is the villain? What made Thanos creepy was that you didn't really understand and know him and didn't explore his backstory. What made One Above All / Kang not as interesting at the end of Loki was that he explained himself. Once One Above All, Kang explained himself at the end of the first Loki season, which I did see, he's no longer a threat. Kang Dynasty would have been a bad idea, even if Jonathan Majors hadn't gotten into trouble. It would have been a mess. They're not doing that anymore. Yeah, no, Kang Dynasty. Thanos was interesting because of the way they set him up, and then they delivered the goods. Kang getting beat up by Ant-Man in the other universe as a variant is not interesting. Deadpool versus Wolverine getting together and fighting himself, that's funny. That actually is good. That actually worked. But it was clearly a love letter to the fans where they were making fun of themselves. And wasn't that dog pool just the cutest ugly dog you ever saw? There should have been a plush toy of that. Anyway, so yeah. But it might have been, but I didn't see one. Yeah. They missed their opportunity. That movie needed plush toys and animals. I guess they figured, well, it's not supposed to be for kids, it's rated R, so let's not make toys of it. But teenagers can watch it, it's fine. They just cuss. The violence is clearly fake. Come on. Blood's all CG. It's like... yeah, you have... This movie just has... Yeah, I haven't described much of the movie because there isn't much to describe. Manchurian Candidate meets a Marvel movie meets... Yeah, Section 31 kind of. It's like... Okay, they have to figure out where the bad guy is. They about halfway through, they figure out, oh, there's his base, and then they meet the bad guy. It's like you've already met the bad guy. You've ruined the room. Okay, now we know that other person is a red herring. We know the bad guy's voice, at least if you're paying attention, from the Incredible Hulk. He was in that. The bad guy from the Abomination scene. They reference that too, like several times to let people know. But show it instead. Don't tell. Also, in the TV show, back to the TV show, On Winter Soldier, Falcon, Winter Soldier, which this is a sequel to. The TV show was notorious for having people in rooms whispering, just like in Section 31. They did that on that one too. And it's like an infamous 5-minute scene in the beginning of Section 31. They're whispering. In Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they're whispering in every episode, except for certain scenes. And it's like, oh my god, that was so annoying. I get it, a little hard of hearing, but still, come on, guys. Come on. Do we need them to literally whisper to each other? We get it, there's a secret, but we need to hear them say dialogue. If it's important, I guess. This one, well, the theater was loud, so you could kind of hear it, but there was some whispering in there. It's like, okay, we don't need him whispering about the nature of the Harlem attack. It's like, louder. He's not in an empty room. And the president guy did some crazy stuff. I would complain about the protocol being screwed up, but it's a Marvel movie, so fine. Yeah, he's going all over the world. He's flying over to Japan. It's still daylight over there. That doesn't make any sense continuity-wise. Why would they take him out of the bunker to have him fly over there? Yeah, there was like a continuity error where he's got to go to Japan and talk to the Japanese guy. And it's like, when did he do that, and how did they let him go? Because the bad guys put him in his bunker for a while, and they hadn't caught the bad guy yet. So, that would be, why would they do that? There was a scene like that in there. And it's like, yeah, why did they do that? Why did they let him go? They shouldn't let him go. They wants to start a war. Oh, what? Wartime president. Clearly referencing another presidential group there. Yeah, clearly not Sleep Joe. Clearly the other guy. But it doesn't work there either. So yeah, the political thriller doesn't work, and here's the reason why. You have a Marvel action movie with superheroes kicking butt. It's over the top in another direction. That's why it doesn't work on Star Trek, because it's mainly about people talking in rooms and going on adventures and solving things and a human adventure and all that. And it's not about spaceships and blue star Marvel type escalation of crimes and things blowing up and people tossing cars and heroes flying in space over a giant hand and a head. Yeah, Star Trek's not about that stuff. That's more like Star Wars. It's more fantasy. So there's this jarring jump between this political thriller and high fantasy, high concept. You have to remember the Eternals movie in order to know what's going on. Freaking floating celestial in the ocean scene. To even understand that 25 minutes with the ocean scene. To even get it at all. And even though I got it, I'm like, that doesn't really work. It's like you tacked that on the ending. What was the original ending? I'm guessing the original ending didn't have the Celestial in it at all, and it was probably just them going like, because that seemed tacked on in the beginning too, like he was looking at the screen going, oh, there's an adamantium over there. Oh, I didn't quite know what he was saying. He actually sounded older in the beginning than he was at the end. In the end, the president guy, and it was like, did they add that later in post? I bet they did, to explain why they're going to do this other scene. They didn't need to do that. It's show don't tell, and what they mean is don't like literally telegraph your scene. They didn't need to do that. That's not foreshadowing. Show it on a TV screen. That's not how that works. No, the foreshadowing worked in the earlier Marvel movies. It's still Kevin Feige, like the Thanos and the War in New York, the Thanos thing. All they needed to do at the end of the first Avengers movie was show him in this weird realm, and he goes, and that's it. That's all you need. Bad guy, scary. Ooh. Or, you know. Or that scene, I think at the end of that one, where they find Thor's hammer. Hammer. You know, and I thought of a scene as cool as that, in which at the end of Fantastic Four, they're going to find the Silver Surfboard. Yeah. Because they're going to have to. But yes, hopefully they do that. That was from my idea of the Fantastic Four. They watched it. Yeah, I didn't get any credit. But yes, yeah, because it couldn't be any worse than what they did. Of course, my other idea was to have Squirrel Girl introduced as one of the Young Avengers. That's a little strange, but that was kind of a Mark's Cards idea that I threw in there. Yes, he's feeding squirrels, and they're all like surrounding her, and they're everywhere. And she goes, teeth, squirrel teeth. That's a gag. Yeah, I think the trouble with the Thunderbolts, though, is going to be that they're trying, again, too hard to be edgy and funny. And I think it's not going to do very well. Yeah. Yeah, the tonal whiplash in this is as whiplashy as Whiplash from Iron Man 2. You can't have... Yeah, Iron Man 3 was a weird one. That was one where he was, like, hiding out in that house for a while. It's weird. He comes back and there's like a million Iron Man suits he'd send out to fight the bad guy. The third one was strange. In a movie. So they've done this before. But yeah, they needed to make it a little... Because what's weird is it's the same people that did the other one. It's just... yeah. Civil War was probably their best espionage one. And that had action in it too. The Captain America Civil War, the other one, and the Winter Soldier was a good one. That's probably their two best espionage ones. Yeah. And the two Captain America movies. Yeah, so this being a sequel to that is kind of awkwardly shoehorned in, and like for about half of it, it's about that. And then when they go to the evil guy's lair, it becomes something else. As if it was two parts of a two-part episode of a TV show and spread out over. And if it had been season 2 of Captain America, the Winter Falcon, whatever, that Falcon, it would have been a lot of whispering in the background. And Captain, we're going to go over here, and when we get there, we're going to get the bad guy, and we're going to arrest him. And yeah. There would have been a lot more of that. The reason something like Guardians of the Galaxy worked, and the sequels really, they were all good, was that the jarring juxtaposition was always grounded in the story that they were going through. Even the short holiday special where they go to Earth, even that one, it's like this one was jarring because how I would have reworked it was probably similar to the other one. He's gonna transform on the ship. I don't know how I would have reworked it. I think the Hulk scene at the end kind of belongs earlier than the action scene. Yeah, so he fights him once there and then again after everything's all screwed up. He gets back to the ship. holy cow. The bad guy, I get that the cell phones are instantaneous and you got but wouldn't they be monitoring the president's and all the other people's cell phones if they were that good at what they were doing? And they would know that the bad guy kept calling him and go, the bad guy's calling him from the prison. Go get him and arrest him. It occurs to them like when they finally find the bad guy turns himself in because the bad guy's like they're not coming after me. Here I am. It's like, okay, well, you're not a very effective bad guy. Why doesn't the Captain America guy just take his shield and hit you with it? There, now he can't do anything anymore. Oh. There. He could have said, I got this to get a pimp slap with my shield. Just knock him over. Put the shield on like this so it's like the full force of the shield and just go just pong. Yeah, predict that, bitch. Down on the floor, twitching. Okay, take him away. Or if you really want to be fucked up and bloody, he does it the other way. He turns the shield this way. And he goes, whoosh, and the bad guy's head just goes. America. We're not going to do that. They probably should have decapitated him. Then, for no reason at all, Brendan Snolt from YouTube comes in and goes, decapitation! Yeah, about half a good movie. Rambling on about half a good movie that had some good ideas. I'm sure you can't hear another thing, but it had half an hour of this ridiculous fighting over that floating eternal body lying there, all the arm up like this, the hand, and the head, fighting around that. And that was actually not that exciting, even though they tried to make it like Top Gun or something. They're going after the jets to stop the two jets that went rogue. Even though that if the rogue power took, is he controlling jet fighter pilots with his mind? Because that makes really no sense. How would they? I get that they did that in Robotech and Macross, but that was because he had a helmet. The Zentradi had a helmet, and it had diodes and stuff connected to it. Zentradi and Macross Plus, the movie, but they ripped that off. They didn't really. Yeah, maybe they were. This is Macross Plus, but yeah, so maybe they were, and so yeah. This considering the split-second decisions in an F-18 flying around, they wouldn't have returned. They would have just gone out and disappeared somewhere. They didn't need to save them. In other words, it is funny that one of them was Wolfie though. There probably was some cat stuff in this movie, and dogs. But yeah, but yeah, there were some odd command things because it's the Marvel movie. You tell it deals a lot of some dubbing too, with trying to explain things. Partly because Harrison Ford is old and he has to mumble a lot. And clearly the stuff that was phoned in later is the stuff from the beginning where he's I'm the president now. And he sounds kind of a mess. And later on he actually can emote because that stuff was filmed earlier. He's actually kind of losing it in the beginning. In the original draft he was going to die. That would have been kind of dumb though. Didn't need to do that. Actually, there should have been a successful payoff because Brain Guy is the leader is not that interesting as a bad guy. What the payoff should have been that he just shows up and as the Red Hulk and goes on a rampage after beating up Anthony Mackie's character, finds the leader guy, and then the leader guy goes like I'm controlling, you are my monster, and what he should have done is grabbed the leader guy and gone, like the Hulk in Avengers, and because the leader guy doesn't actually have powers, he just wastes him, he murders him. And then feeling all adrenaline, he just changes back because he's happy now. And then Anthony Mackie shows up all messed up and goes, "Oh, defeated the bad guy. Oh, did I? Oh, shit. He's very dead. Yes, he's in. Well, there's some of them over here, and well, there's some of them over there. And there's some of them right here. Ew. Ew. See, that would have been, yeah. That was more Deadpool, though. Ew. That should have happened. You should just that would have been a better payoff for the Hulk guys. You come back later and like grab the leader guy and say, "Damn it! This is gonna end like Ant-Man, you little shit." And then the after credits sequence would be more like, I think, yeah, the Hulk guy escaped, but he went swimming. He's dead. He escaped, but he's dead. But he took the other guy out with him. Yeah, he's totally. Yeah, and then they're like, ew, he's all over the place in here. Where's all this gore come from? The brain guy was horribly killed. Oh well. Ew, yes, and Captain America goes, well, damn. Well, guess I don't need to worry about that then. Da 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 da. He flies off. Perhaps it's the plot of Wolverine 2 or 4 or whatever they're up to now. 4. Thing. At least with that movie, Deadpool and Wolverine, they like to show Wolverine actually killing people with his claws because he would. Which begs another question: so why would they the claws? Those claws would technically like hurt him every time he used them. And he couldn't jack off. Ah! Right off. Well, he does have healing factor, but would it heal if he totally cut it off? Yeah, I think I made that joke during the Wolverine review, but yes. Ew, that had Clint Cowpoke in it. That was Cowboy Pool. And Vanity Pool. Ew. Clint Cowpoke Pool. That's Sarah Pool. Yeah, Nisa. Yeah. Alright. Everybody's in this. Yeah. Yeah. Captain America, the Brave New World, or whatever they called it before. It isn't a Brave New World, it's sort of a world we've seen before, and it's kind of convoluted. Yeah. 50%. Yeah. Not half a good movie. Out of 5 stars, that's 2.5. It ain't that good. You know, it just ain't. Well, maybe 3. Well, that might be the Chinese food I had for lunch. But yeah, it had. Yeah, I've been rambling about what issues it does have, and not doing a linear plot synopsis because there really isn't a linear plot. It reminds me of those Harrison Ford movies from the John Grisham books, as if he's playing that character from those books, like Clear and Present Danger and whatever, and he's going through the motions as Harrison Ford. And yeah, phoning in a lot of the later stuff. But I think that's because they filmed it next. I think they added that stuff. They didn't need it. We didn't need an opening scene saying, now he's the president. It's Thunderbolt Ross. No. Take that scene out. He's already the president. You don't need a phony election. It looks fake. We don't need it. We don't need it. And yeah, it just is. Yeah. Did clear and yeah, and then Manchurian. It's only Manchurian Candidate in that they brainwash a guy to try and kill people. It's mostly an Avengers adventure where apparently bullets can fly ridiculous velocities and not actually kill anybody. That or at least not say they're dead, but clearly people are injured in it. Which why is that Falcon kid guy not like super agent or something zapped? They can do that. Yeah, they basically cheat injury if they have healing factor. Just give him that; he'll be fine. Which would also make the question: why didn't Bucky just grow his arm back? Anyway, because they could do that. Ask that lizard alien from that other show. Oh, the krill or whatever, the Kree or krill or whatever there. Well, yeah. They mixed those two races up, incidentally, in the comics, in the movies. Yeah, the Kree homeroller. And what's weird is that they literally stole that name from a Native American group in Canada. They literally stole that name from the Cree Indians. I'm sure they love that. Yes, this is what they got there. So, Marvel and we don't care. No, they'll never read this. I bet they will, but they have. So they're like, what? We're not green. What's wrong with you people? Anyway, the green people. Yeah. And then that bad guy was not really named Charlton Holt. He just had a similar voice, and I probably was thinking of that guy from Incredible Hulk. Yeah, so it is ripping it off, but not directly. It's just the voice. Char. Yeah, it's probably that guy. Named the hero. Ew. Actually, having one of my villains, in one of my stories, sound like William Shatner was actually hilarious. That was well done. Sure, why not? He's a Kirk doll. Anyway, so yes, Anthony Mackie is not Captain America. Trying a little hard to be, but he isn't really. Yeah. That is, yeah. Meh. I wonder if Angry Joe Reviews is going to like it.